Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of Hakkenden 8 Dogs to the East, Episode 1. And again, I'll hold my final thoughts and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. So let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with fire around a girl wearing a kimono. She's half dead, half alive, so that's kind of obvious. And her name is Shino, just putting that out there. And again, her village has been burnt down to a crisp. Now we're introduced to another character. Her name is Hamaji. Now Hamaji is saying Shino's name out loud and crying, so we can assume she's from the same village. Now moving on past that, we're introduced to another character. His name is Sasuke. Now we don't know if he's dead or alive because he's kind of passed out right now, so it's not really confirmed if he's dead, but he does look like he is dead though. Just putting that out there. And we are introduced to another character, a dog called Yoshiro. Just putting that out there. And again, we don't know if he's alive or if he's dead. It's just how he appears. Now, toward the end of the opening, we find out there's a man that appears out of nowhere, and he's talking to Shino actually, and he's basically asking her, "Do you desire to live?" Now, we don't hear a response, but that's kind of a stupid question to ask when your village has been burnt down and it looks like you're about to die because the flames are engulfing you. Just putting that out there. And again, we do not know the name of this guy or what faction or group he's actually with. But that's where we open up with. Moving on past that to a different scene. Now, apparently it's been some time, like maybe a few years later. So we see a new character. His name is Shino. I know we were just introduced to a girl by the name of Shino. Now a boy named Shino. There's a connection. I'll get to it. Don't worry, I'll get to it. So we open up the scene with Shino, and Shino is swimming in a river. Now it looks like he's about to be capsized by a fish underneath him, like a whale. Now this isn't a whale, it's not a fish, it's actually a river guardian. Now apparently this river guardian knows Shino. It's like, how? And apparently Shino knows the river guardian. Are they spirits, ghosts, gods, demons? We don't really know. Just they know each other. Just putting that out there. Now, moving on past that, we're introduced to another character, which is a crow, which can talk, and his name is Murasame. Now, Murasame, if I pronounce his name right, sometimes it's going to be pronounced a different way, so bear with me. His name is spelled M-U-R-A-S-A-M-E, so Murasame, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So, again, bear with me. So Murasame is this crow who can talk, and he has like a little black, little fuzzy thing in his mouth. I don't know how else to say it. And it's got a little eyeball. So this fuzzy thing, which is called a black marimo, with a little eye, it's like all fuzzy, little prickly, is like, we don't know if it's a monster or what the heck is it. We just see Shino grabbing it and tossing it. I just thought it was funny. And again, just putting that out there. And again, this crow can talk. It's unique, it's different. So we are taking to a different scene with Shino. Just putting this out there, he's talking to a frog, which he calls Gramps, which reminds you of the frogs from Naruto Shippuden. I just had to say it, I mean, it was that obvious. So this frog, which is called Gramps, is basically telling Shino he senses some sinister, like, power at work. I'm like, so he senses a sinister power at work. Ooh, that's all we really get to see. There's no emphasis on what's really going on. There's no description, just, yeah, I sense some sinister work going on, and that's it. Just a little brief cutscene. So there's really no follow-up, to be honest. So we're taking to a different scene, and one of my favorite scenes in this episode, just putting that out there. Now we see Hamaji, and she's singing. Now she's located in this little house that belongs to, it looks like the church, because we see priests that live inside of it. Just putting that out there. And she's singing an amazing song. I don't know how many times I can say it. It's an amazing song. It's like a lullaby practically you'd sing to a kid. I mean, depending on who the kid is though, it could be like an old kid or, like a newborn. But the song, again, is beautiful. It definitely scored points in my book. But sorry, I digress. Now, we do find out Hamaji is actually making tea for Shino. So they all live underneath the same roof. Now, apparently she cannot make tea worth at all. She can't make tea. However, there is one priest who actually wants more, ironically. But again, Hamaji cannot make tea. And Shino, definitely, you can tell his face, no, he's not liking it. Just putting that out there. So we're taking to a different scene. Now, apparently, we get to see Sasuke. He is alive, and I guess we get to know a little more about him later on. But right now, apparently, he's at one of his friend's house, or one of the local kids that are within the village. His name is Kanta. Now, Kanta actually, he's talking about what appears to be Shino, how Shino was in the forest and whatnot. At least he overhears it, and he's like quickly shuts up about it. But just before we hear him talk about Shino being in the forest, Kinta is actually getting the crap beaten out of him by his father, more or less, because apparently he's been skipping out on his education at school. So he's kind of not a troublemaker, but kind of a juvenile, just a little bit. And, well, I should point out, Kenta, sorry, I pronounced his name wrong. Kenta actually wants to help Sasuke in general, walking back to the church and what have you. So I thought that was kind of nice of him. Even if he's a juvenile, at least he's trying to be nice to his friends. He's trying. And again, he manages to tell Sasuke, or it slips out of his mouth, that, yeah, Shino, he's been in the forest. Apparently the forest is like off limits. But I'll get into that later on. Now, while Sasuke and Kenta are actually going back to what appears to be the church, or the little house that everyone lives in, all these citizens are staring at him. Now, we don't really know why all these citizens are staring at him as he's passing by, but I just thought it was worth mentioning, because, well, what did he do? Why are they giving him the look? Just putting that out there. So we are taking to a different scene with Sasuke, and this is a lot of information just thrown at us all at once. Well, not a lot, but apparently it's been 5 years which have passed within this anime series, and apparently his village has been burnt down, and there were bodies everywhere, and there was a disease outbreak, hence why their buildings were destroyed. But we really don't know who destroyed the buildings, or if it really was the cause of the disease, but all we know is he doesn't remember anything from that day when his village burnt down. So he's kind of got like amnesia. Now, I don't know if that's fake it, if he's faking it, is it real, or does he really know what happened? We don't know. So what we do know about his character, it's been 5 years now. His village was burnt down, apparently because of disease, and there were bodies, and he has amnesia. Okay, well, that's Sasuke's background. Not a lot to go with, but at least it was something. I mean, be honest, it was something to go with. Now, I should also point out, Sasuke ends up giving his rosary to Kenta. I was like, oh, that's nice of him. I guess he was trying to boost his self-confidence, so that was nice of him. So we are taken to a different scene with Sasuke, and he's back at the church, or, the little house they all live in, and he's basically yelling at Shino, because we do see Kenta in the background. And again, remember, Kenta was the one that told Sasuke that Shino was actually in the forest when he wasn't supposed to. And yes, Shino's getting the lecture from Sasuke. It's kind of like a brother, older brother, younger brother type of a relationship. Just putting that out there. So I thought it was funny. Now, Kenta, he basically says, yeah, he was in the forest, and we do see, Shino getting yelled at and whatnot. And eventually we do see Kenta end up leaving. And Kenta kind of wanders, not in the forest like directly, but like on the outskirts of the forest, and he sees a girl, kind of like a ghost, and it looks like, well, to be honest, Shino, except in a girl form. So it's like he sees a ghost that looks like Shino, except as a girl. Kind of like how we opened up the episode, there was a girl called Shino. What could that mean? But again, that's what Kenta actually sees. Just putting that out there. I had to mention that. Now, we are taking to a different scene. Now, this different scene is a little, I kind of liked it in my opinion, just kind of a little. But apparently Shino, he's getting a letter of summons. Just putting that out there. Now, we don't know who it's from right away until, he finishes his little conversation he was having with the priest. Now, apparently Shino is getting a summons from the central church, and they're basically searching for his crow, which is, he's called Mursame. I don't know why. What's so special about his crow? We don't really know. Just putting that out there. And out of nowhere, the black Marimo appears and just breaks into the wall. And the little furry guy, he ain't furry anymore. He's big, the big puff guy. He's a big puffy dude. Well, not a dude, but like a big puffy. I don't know how to describe it. He's just hilarious. And he just breaks in, smashes the window, and then he leaves. Apparently, he eventually shrinks back to his normal size. And we do find he follows Shino throughout this episode, by the way. Just thought I'd mention that. And the priests were hilarious. You're like, I wonder who's going to pay for this. But yeah, that's where we open up there. Now, we are taken to a different scene with a new character. His name is Ryo. And we know nothing about this character, but apparently Ryo is being informed that apparently the Otsuke village survivor, they found the village survivor of Otsuke. I'm like, okay, so this survivor has been found, or should I say survivors, Shino, Sasuke, and Hamaji. So they've actually found these survivors. So I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting. But what does that really mean? We don't know. Now, apparently the Imperial Church is making a move. That's what we actually know right now. So the Imperial Church is making a move. Now, we are taken to a different scene. Now, apparently it's back in the forest. Now, we see it looks like a monster or a body that's... We don't get to see the face of this body, but we see like blood or something going down its arms. And we see a guy that's in front of this monster or whatever it is being scared shitless. And again, it's in the forest. We don't know if he's alive or if he's going to be killed. We just know he's scared shitless and he's being backed up against a tree. Just thought I'd mention that. Now we are taken to a different scene. Now it's the next day, just putting that out there, and we open up with Shino, Sasuke, and Hamaji. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting. We find out the priests are actually informing them that there are like 5 masked guys outside, and apparently, ready? Yeah, the reception party, they're here. Cough, cough, No. I thought it was kind of funny. So the priests basically tell, Shino, Sasuke, and Hamaji, yeah, the reception party, they're outside. Now, Sasuke actually points out, yeah, they're not from the central church. We see 5 guys with masks, really cool looking masks, by the way. Just thought I'd put that out there. So we are taken to a different scene with Shino. And, after hearing what Sasuke had to say, he transforms. So Shino can transform. Apparently his right hand or right arm transforms. You see like a little eyeball, and then wings appear, and then he summons apparently his crow, which is Marasame. And Marasame appears, and he defeats these 5 guys with masks. Now apparently everyone wants to know, okay, who are these 5 guys with masks? So apparently these 5 guys with masks are called the 5 foxes from the house of Osaka. Now I don't know what the house of Osaka is, but I believe they're a demon family. Just putting that out there, but I'll get into that later on, so stay tuned. Now we go to a different scene with Kenta. Now he basically is now back at the church in that little house, and he's talking with Shino, Sasuke, and Hamaji, and he's basically telling the village they're in an uproar. And like, why is the village in an uproar? Apparently 3 guys have gone missing, like they failed to actually go back to the village, so they're blaming the church for what's actually happened. I'm like, why would you, blame these guys? They didn't do anything wrong. Maybe these guys were, they're, how Kenta's actually describing these guys that went missing, they're horrible guys, they're juveniles per se, kind of about the same age as Sasuke, because he appears like he's like a 19-year-old. So I mean, it kind of makes sense, but they're blaming, the village is blaming, like, I think everyone that's at the church on everyone that's gone missing, or something along those lines. Just thought I'd put that out there. Now, I also should point out, Kenta actually tells, I believe, Sasuke and Shino, everyone else that's there, that he actually saw a ghost in the forest that looked like Shino, except it was a woman. And we find out, apparently, that's what Shino used to look like 5 years ago. How? Shino's a guy, and the other Shino's a woman. How does the original, like, the Shino we know now, resemble Shino from the past? What's the connection? We don't know. Now, kind of sad to say this, but Sasuke kind of jumps on Kenta and says, you can't come to the church anymore, you really can't hang around us, it's getting dangerous, because you're seeing spirits or ghosts, something might happen to you and people will blame us. And we do see Kenta take it very seriously. He throws his rosary down, just throws it, and runs away. And it was kind of sad, to be honest. So we are taken to a different scene, apparently with the 5 foxes and a guy called Kenam, Kname, K-name, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't want to pronounce it that way, but it's called Kname, and Kname is, I think, a demon probably. Now apparently he knows where apparently the whereabouts of Mursame is, which is the little crow. So he knows the whereabouts of the crow. I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but why do you want the crow? What is this crow? I mean, what's the significance of this crow? We really don't know. I mean, it kind of pisses me off. We still don't know. Now, he also talks about Hamaji being the last survivor. So what does Hamaji have to do with everything? I really don't know. I'm still left in the dark on that. So we are taken to a different scene with Shino, and he's gone after Kenta because he finds the rosary. So yeah, he's going after Kenta automatically, because it's, suffice to say, Kenta probably went into the forest, so that's where he's going to go. So we do see Shino leaving the church and going after Kenta. Now, we also find out Hamaji tells Sasuke about everything, that, Shino actually went after Kenta. So he puts 2 and 2 together and says, oh crap, I gotta do something. So he bails out and he's going to go after them. And he transforms. You sitting down? Oh wait, you down? You sitting down? Okay. He transforms into a dog. Like the dog in the beginning of the episode called, if I'm correct, his name is Yoshiro. Yeah, he transforms into a dog. I thought that was worth mentioning. So we are taken to a different scene. Now, Shino finds Kenta, ironically. And, Kenta, he's in cobwebs, like from a spider. And I don't see any spiders, but I'm like, okay. So Shino does find Kenta and frees him from the spider webs, per se. And we see that ghost that looks like Shino. And we really don't know what's going on here, because there wasn't a lot of collaboration on who the hell this ghost really is, other than it looks like Shino from 5 years ago. Just putting that out there. So we are taken to a different scene, and we see all these trees fall. and we see a giant spider appear out of nowhere with, the ghost on top of this spider. I'm like, what is this, Spider Riders? Just putting that out there. And then Sasuke does appear out of nowhere, kind of to save the day per se. He gets rid of the cobwebs, and he's there to save the day. So we're taken to a different scene with Mursame, the crow, and he's being called forth by Shino, and he's being transformed into a sword. So this talking crow not only can attach himself to Shino's arm, but he transforms into a sword. And yeah, this giant spider has been defeated already. There's no fight. It's done. He's dead. He's done. Like, wow. So Shino defeats this giant spider with Mursame, which is a sword. This crow transforms into a sword. I really don't know what to say. So we are taken to a different scene with Hamaji. Now, Hamaji apparently is being taken by the 5 foxes. So you're wondering, wait a minute, so maybe this giant spider was a diversion to get Hamaji away from everyone. Kind of makes sense, at least in my opinion. So again, we open up the scene with Hamaji, and she's actually being taken away by these 5 foxes from the house of Osaka. Just putting that out there. Now, a little more information. Apparently, they belong to one of the 4 families of the demon gods. Just putting that out there, that the church actually has taken custody of. Kind of interesting. I can't wait to see where this is actually going to go. So we are taken to a different scene. Now, apparently, Shino as well as Sasuke have a plan. They have a plan to deal with this. So apparently, they're going to go after Hamaji, who is actually back. Apparently, they believe is at the central church. So they're going to go to the central church to save Hamaji. That's the plan. And they are now making a declaration of war. Just putting that out there. And again, if you check past the credits, they're actually boarding a train and they're heading to the central church. And that's where the episode ends. Final thoughts? Well, first of all, what is Mursame, this crow? What's his deal? Why can he talk? And why can he transform into a sword as well as a weapon on Shino's arm? Now, Shino, what's your background? Why do you resemble a girl from 5 years ago? In fact, why does people think you were a girl originally? Were you a girl originally? We don't know. And Sasuke, why do you turn into a dog? We don't know. I mean, do you guys have 2 spirits? I mean, the way these 5 foxes were talking about, apparently Shino has 2 souls or something inside of him. So just putting that out there. And again, that is it for my final thoughts. Nothing too special. As per my rating, 3.5 out of 5. The fights were not there, so can't score any points there. But we do get to hear Hamaji sing, and I loved it. Was there any emotion? No, just a lot of information and new characters. That's about it. So final rating, 3.5 out of 5. And that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Hakkenden 8 Dogs of the East Episode 1. So definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode that's coming out. And again, guys, I gotta go, I gotta hit the bricks, and before I go, I have to say it, and I always say it, you can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.